Hi, welcome to my tutorial video on drawing a nose in 18 minutes real time. Video is not being speeded up, which means you could draw along me if you wished. The materials I'll be using today are listed on this slide and in the description below. The first thing I'm doing is drawing a large circle. This is the bulb end of the nose. The two smaller circles will be the basis for the nostrils. These do not need to be perfectly round, as we will progressively refine the drawing as we go along. I'm now drawing the gentle curve from each nostril around the edge of the front of the nose. For the bridge of the nose, I'm drawing light straight lines on both sides and two diagonals on either side for the shading. I'm now erasing the unnecessary outlines. Yes, this looks a bit messy, but we'll deal with that as we progress with this drawing. The inner area of the nostrils are being darkened, and I'm lightly shading the bridge of the nose where it joins with the rest of the face with a B pencil. These strokes need to be light so that when we come to blending, we're not going to see pencil lines. We have the light source coming at an angle from the top. This is going to create shadows on both sides of the nostrils where they join with the face and also below the front of the nose. We have been applying basic shading and will build up form and shape with layers of shading and blending as we progress. I'm now just drawing the subtle circular form around the end of the nose. As we shade, we are also altering the shape of the nose. I'm using downward strokes to reflect the shape and also the direction of the skin. We are redefining the darkest areas of both nostrils where they join the skin and are blending that shadow into the rest of the face. A brush is being used to move the graphite around and soften the shaded area. Given that the brush is relatively fine, I'm using some pressure as I push it around. You can still see the lines, but as we go along they will disappear with a combination of the brushing, the stumps and a tissue or chamois. You don't have to use a brush if you don't have one. You could simply use a stump or the tissue paper. We are darkening the inside of the nostrils. This is the darkest dark in the drawing. We are using an 8B pencil, which can be a bit grainy, but having created a good base with the lighter B pencil, any graininess will be minimised. The darker the shadows, the stronger the contrast. This will ensure that the nose has more of a 3D appearance and sort of pops out of the paper. We're now using a chamois. You could use a tissue if you don't have one available. This will create a very smooth blend across all of our layers. The downside is that as we blend, we are taking a large amount of graphite off the paper, which will lighten the darks and darken the lights. This is why we will be redarkening some areas and lifting off highlights in others as we go along. We're now 10 minutes into the drawing and one could say that is complete. It looks pretty good already, but we're going to add more blending and darken some of the areas even further. I'm using the mono eraser just to create that little reflected highlight at the base and edge of the nose and blend it in. The shadows are being darkened and re-emphasised, as some of these would have been dulled when we use the stump and tissue or chamois. We are gently blending again with the 8B pencil. I'm quite happy with the drawing to date, and we should easily finish this in the 18 minutes. We're adding a little bit of a circular motion to highlight the rounding of the point of the nose to emphasise that it rises slightly higher above the nostrils. Shading the junction between the bridge of the nose and the face. A stump is being used to push some of the graphite into the texture of the paper and to smooth the blend between shaded areas and light and dark. I'm using a medium pressure here. This is the final blend with a chamois or tissue and the final smoothing before the highlights. I'm using a pointed kneaded eraser and lightly dabbing out the highlights on the tip of the nose and on each of the nostrils. Also the long highlight on the bridge. I don't want to brighten these too much. Okay, well this is a brief slideshow of our progress to date. And again, thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial.